and welcome to the Complete Agent Podcast, where each week we get together to talk all things estate agency. My name is Dave Warburton. As ever, I am joined by my industry colleagues, legends, and friends, Mr. Ian Storey and James Kendall. Lads, how has your week been? Let's go to you, JK.
How do you just decide whether you are Dave or David? Because some weeks you're, hi, my name's David Warburton, and other weeks you're, hi, I'm Dave Warburton. Does it just depend on how busy as fuck you are?
I was looking at my screen and it says Dave Warburton, so I thought, I'll go with Dave.
You're Dave today.
Yeah.
Say, keeping it cash. Keeping it cash.
It wasn't a purposeful thing. I just saw
chilled out, sexy vibe.
Yeah.
So anyway, this week has been really good, actually. Been really busy. Some might say busy as FOK. And I've had a load of vows, which we'll unpack it maybe later on in the pod. Somewhere we've been 300 grand apart. I think I mentioned to you lads yesterday in the group. I was a little bit frustrated and I vented. Where we'll unpack it in a minute, but vows where classic. I don't know if it happens in your area, lads. Agents overvaluing and undercutting your fee. But yeah, there's been a little bit of that. But no, good, really positive actually. Got some good deals done. A lot of the mid-range, the gold dust, as I like to call it. Working on a deal on a £2 million barn. Working on a couple of other little deals as well. Yeah. We launched officially. My business partner got her sign off from our old workplace this week now as well, so we can officially talk about Bricksmith, which is great news. Which is the premium lettings business that I've started with my co-founder Hannah, and we're getting that underway. And we launched that yesterday. And just talking about the power of social media in a positive way, I put it out on Facebook and I put it out on LinkedIn, and I had such a busy day yesterday. I didn't get round to looking at my WhatsApps until, crikey, probably 7:30 at night. And
I could tell. I had a lovely quiet day. I could tell it was I had such a calm day yesterday. I don't know what it was. You just made me realise.
But yeah, it was good. I had two messages. One for a luxury house that a person I know connected with on Facebook wants to rent out, and they wants to come out and get started on that. Another one from an investor that follows me on LinkedIn, doesn't engage or like, again, a silent audience, doesn't like or comment on anything that I write, but said, obviously follow you on LinkedIn for a while, been connected for a while, part of a fund. We've got a property company with two other directors, and we're pulling our money out of another place here, and we want to invest it all in Bedford for Universal. Would you be interested in having a coffee? We've got about 4 million to spend, and we'd like to try and invest it in Bedford in buy-to-let, maybe go for a coffee and talk about helping us acquire and then possibly managing it for us as well. All off a LinkedIn post that, he didn't even like. How crazy is that? And that's the thing is because there are others on there as well. And there's, we'll unpack it later on. It's something I want to talk about is proximity is power. Have you heard that before?
No. Explain it, JK.
So I was listening to, now I find some podcasts a bit wanky, I've got to be honest, but Dave's got his Diet Coke, obviously. I watched the podcast between Tony Robbins and a guy called Alex Hormozy. Have you heard of Alex Hormozy?
Yeah, I think I have, yeah.
And it's a brilliant podcast because I don't really know. I know of Alex Hormozy. I wouldn't say he's my idol. I know who but I've heard of him, and I know that he does some incredible things. He's self-made multimillionaire, investments, etc. Builds businesses. Anyway, this is a podcast of 60 minutes of him getting coached by Tony Robbins. I don't think it was the intention, but it is literally what happens. And some of the stuff he comes out with, and one of the things I took out of it, and it's so true, is he says proximity is power. And I didn't really understand what he meant when he said it. And he started unpacking it. And it's all about being around the right sort of people. So, for example, he got in and around a load of investment bankers early on in his life, in his career. And just through being with them and being associated with them, they helped him understand and get cut in on big deals and make money. But it's also relevant for people that you work with. And they say what's the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with is how you are. And I thought, like, to us, we talk every day, and think about where, we probably don't give ourselves enough credit for this. And this isn't to, blow smoke up our arses. But if you think where our group chat was like 3, 4, 5 years ago, when we were all chatting and messing around, and what we were turning over and what we were doing, and how just being in and around each other, even if that's just, not physically, but, verbally, on text each other every day, and especially every week on video, etc. Like, how much of a compounding effect in a positive way has that had on all of our businesses and us as people?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah,
it's so true.
So
it's so true.
Proximity,
and it's not.
But just think about it.
Yeah. You're right. You're dead right. Yeah, there's loads of jokes there in there, but I won't make any of them. But you're dead right, and it also should be the case in your personal life as well, shouldn't it? So it's all very well 100%. Having it in your business life, but in your personal life, what are your friends like? Like my 2 best mates around, who I see the most of, they're both like, hardworking, motivated, fit and healthy. You know what I mean? Like, who are you spending your time with?
I wouldn't say I was fit and healthy, mate, to be honest. But I appreciate it.
I wasn't talking about you.
You said 2 best mates, so I just assumed. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, mate. I've got something to tell you.
Yeah, there's others. Anyway, so yeah, my week's been pretty good. Been really busy all around, but positive. And I feel like I've taken a lot from different things this week. I'm still going through Rory Sutherland's book, picking up little gems from that. But yeah, listen, under a lot of stress, under a lot of pressure, but it's good pressure, good stress. Lots coming on, lots of £1 million plus houses that are in the pipe that I should sign up. One's just signed up this morning. Others that are coming, negotiating on the 2 million. Like, there's loads happening, and I'm really pleased with how it's going. So I'll pass the baton over to you, Mr. Storey, while Dave figure out how his week's been while he sips his Diet Coke. How has your week been, Mr. Ian Storey? Sold any barns this week, mate?
Yeah, do you know what we have? I've been the reason I hesitated was it's one of Phil's, and he's been off this week, so I've picked up his negs for him, and one of them is a barn, 500-gram barn, gold dust, you might say.
For those listening, negs means negotiations. It's not like a northern word for pants.
No, it doesn't mean negotiations. I ended last week thinking it was probably the best of my career. We verbally agreed one at 2.5 million last Monday. And then on Friday, I sold 2 at 1.75 and 2, both over the marketing price. And then this week, sales are basically going to be another 3, I think, all gold dust. So 500, 650 and 900. Loads of good vowels. I've been to 4 or 5 that I'm pretty sure I got them. They're all really nice higher end ones. Hoping to hear today, tomorrow. We had a faller, a 700 grand faller, chain breakdown, which obviously is never good, but it should resell. But just general positivity in the market, I think, is really up there. We did our market update last week, our video market update to clients and the local market. And, even Rightmove are reporting the same thing. I won't repeat that because we went over that last week, didn't we? But it just feels good. We've also recruited our full-time in-house videographer role. So we brought our photographer role in-house 2 years ago, and we are now doing the same with our videographer. So we've found the right person, and they start with us week on Monday fully. I'm really excited by that because he's got great experience, loads of good sort of cool footage that he's done on Insta and TikTok. So I'm really excited about him coming on board and how we can take it to the next level. So no, I have to say overall, it's good, and I'm excited for the market this year. It's kicked off. It's kicked off, I think, in a great way. So hopefully, it'll continue. David.
So it's been a challenging start, lads. Very challenging. As you both know, I have 2 key members of my team out of action at the moment. So we've been a little bit short, and it is. I'm not gonna lie. It's been tough.
Is this your week to have the sad violin music over this part?
Yeah, please.
Maybe it is.
Please,
go on, David, tell us.
It's extremely tough, but valuations are very, very good. And I've got lots of instructions coming on. I've got quite a few slow burners, And then sales have been a little bit slow, but it's more like I'm looking at them now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all in negotiation that will probably go. But it's just, Ian, you were on a call before trying to get something over the line, and it's I'm just finding that at the moment, like, come on. Why can't somebody just ring up, make an offer, somebody accept it, it goes straight into the pipe, I want more of that.
What are you waiting for?
So there's lots of good stuff bubbling, but if I'm honest, I've had a good few weeks where I'm being pulled all over the place. So I need to sort a few things out. That's all. So it's never all rosy, is it, lads? We know that. What is good for me is there's no lack of valuations for sure. There's no lack of instructions.
Yeah.
That's great because the lead gen strategy that we've got in place is just consistent and everybody's great at it. The noms went out. Second week of January, we're just getting flooded with valuations to the point where I can't get valuations in the next couple of weeks. So just from a personal point of view, if I'm honest, I've had a very, very challenging couple of weeks. I got ill as well, lads. Got ill.
Who'd have thought?
Where is the fire?
Who'd have thought overworking really hard and getting stressed and working till late would make you ill?
I know.
What a revelation.
Yeah. So that, having a couple of people
I think it's a 10 cans of Diet Coke a day. That can't be any good.
It might be that.
Only 10, he's cut down.
I've had 10 this morning. So yeah, it's been challenging, and I've felt the pressure this month. I'm not ashamed to say it, but I'm trying to turn things around, and hopefully we'll be back up to a full team in the coming weeks. But probably not till the end of February. So it's challenging, lads. I'll not lie. That's how I'm feeling at the moment. But like I say, the core stuff, the core elements are there. Lots of vowels that I'm going to. Some really nice instructions. Did a Zoom call yesterday with somebody on the other side of the world who's got a house around the corner from me where I live. It's probably in the region of 1.75 million. It's looking like a nice one, and I've got lots of that going on. So anyway, that's my boring week. Sorry to depress all the listeners.
I'm going to say, anyone that's not asleep.
Dave, you're recruiting for a valuer, aren't you? So you've got the job advert out.
I have indeed. So that's another struggle. Yeah. That's another struggle. So I need to get somebody. So we'll look at. So basically, obviously, as people know, we've got the two brands. We look at Burton James. We are stretching Burton James a lot more than we used to. So I think our average listing value was just under £1 million. I want to stretch that a bit more because there's some great houses in my local area where I'm focusing more of my attention on now that range from like 400, 450 all the way up that would really benefit from it. And we get a lot of inquiries about on our brand for those types of homes. And sometimes they're not always a great fit, to be quite frank. And, again, it's all about how you look and what you want to attract. But they love the marketing that we do. So naturally it attracts people to it. And, we took one on a week ago, 2 ago. It's 450,000. It's a 2% fee. And, it's got a diary full of viewings. So it makes sense to do that. And be busy. We're so busy on the Burton James brand as well. So I'm looking to take on somebody in that role, basically, to support me in the business there. So that's going to be a big thing over the next couple of months. If I can get somebody in, then that will certainly free things up. But usual challenges, lads, as business owners, it's never all straightforward, is it?
I think if you take care of the listings, though, like if you keep putting the listings in at the top at the right price, and we'll unpack that a little bit, and I'll talk about another val I had actually yesterday. And if you get them on the market at the right price and the right fee, the vendor's motivated, etc., then the rest will look after itself. You have ups and downs, you have the challenges. We've had massive fall throughs that happened in the last 12 months. We've just gone through the data with Gatesy recently over the last 12 months, fall through rates, etc. And our fall through rate was up a fair bit on the previous year. Obviously, that's gross fall through rate, which, the ones that resold and came back on. But I think it was just symptomatic of the market. with what happened last year, and we were talking about fickle buyers quite a bit for a few weeks on the podcast, and I think that was just, again, if you look at the actual overall data, national fall throughs are up as well. So talking about valuations just really quickly. So Val I went to yesterday, and the whole, Gatesy talks about it, and I think we've talked about it as well, is the endowment effect. And, it's mine, so it's got to be worth X. Or, I bought it for blah, 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 and I've spent X, Y, Z, so it must be worth whatever. Anyway, so I've gone to this house, and I've gone through the data. And in this particular instance, you talk to people through the data, and they look at it on the on the spreadsheet that you collate, and you go through what and why, etc. But sometimes it doesn't always smack them in the face, because they look at 2,500 square feet doesn't mean that much to them. Anyway, in this particular instance, I've said, look, the data suggests this house is like 900 grand, and we've all been there. The face drops, and I was like, is that forgive me if I'm reading you wrong here, but you look really rather disappointed. He goes, well, I am. And I said, well, look, it's not, as I said to you earlier, I'm not valuing your house. It's the market value of your house. Trying to distance myself away from, it being my opinion. Ironically, my opinion was that it's probably 900 at best. Anyway, as fate would have it, 3 doors down, there's almost the exact same house that was built. I mean, this house is 30 odd years old. The house that's on the market and has just sold 3 doors down is less than 10 years old, has a brand new luxury kitchen in it, has kitchens and bathrooms done, a slightly bigger plot. It looks nicer, but the only disadvantage it's got, as opposed to the house I was supposed to be going to see and appraise, is that it shares a gated entrance with 3 other houses, but it's still got its own private drive, whereas his house has got just its own private drive. But his house hasn't been touched for 30 years, apart from doing the windows and a brand new boiler. And they've redecorated one room. It's got all the original bathrooms, all the original en-suites, all the original kitchen. The plot's not as big, and and it's exactly the same size, bar 2 square feet according to the floor plans and EPC. And 2 agents had come out and told him it was 1.2, maybe 1.1. He'd have to knock himself down to, but literally not even 30 meters away, a better house has just sold for 965 with a new kitchen, new bathroom, the same size, a better plot, in better decorative order. And I was like, John, what are we not getting here?
Is he actually called John?
John?
No. He's called John? No.
But I was like, John, what are we doing? Take your hat off for a second. You're standing out on the road and you're looking at that house there at 965 and you're looking at your house at 1.2. Which one are you buying? Well, my one, because it's got a private drive. Okay, John. Yeah. I said, look, and he goes, well, look, the other agents said they've got buyers. And I know you guys may not have heard this before, but agents around me say that they've got buyers. So what we did was, I said, well, look, he wants to buy one through me, right? So I've said, look, let's do this. This is the data. I'll write you a report. I'll send it all over to you. The good news is the other agents say they've got buyers. So sign a contract with them for the viewings only and get them to bring their buyers round. Sell your house for 1.2, which they said that they could get for it. You can buy the bungalow off me and we'll all walk into the sunset. But if that doesn't happen and those buyers don't exist, what does that tell you, John? And also, John, if they do come round and they don't offer you 1.1 and they don't offer you 1.2, you've also got great price feedback as well. So before you go on to Rightmove, because ultimately, if you go on Rightmove and you go on at 1.2, then reduce to 1.1, then reduce to 1, then reduce to 9, that's a process that's probably going to take you mentally around 12 to 18 months, 2 years. And you're going to end up being the old chestnut on the market that everyone thinks there's an issue with, when the issue is bad advice and the wrong price. So I shook hands and said, look, great to meet you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll send you the report. All the best. So we'll see how that goes. But sometimes you've got to walk away and do that. You know, it's your integrity. But also, we're not a public service. We don't have to list every house at what somebody wants to put it on. I also said to him, John, I can't look you in the eyes, shake your hands, and take £1,000 plus VAT off front of you for a marketing fee, knowing that I can't sell this house at anywhere near 1.2 because the market data.
Great.
You know, you can go through the subjectivity of it all, but ultimately, you know, unless Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles Investments come along and you tell him it's a 25-bedroom detached, it's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. So
I'm watching it. It's highly frustrating. I mean, I'm going to them all the time. I told you about the one that the one that I've had an appointment with there with the guy on Zoom. They've had 3 agents out, myself, 2 others, and the numbers they're getting are just closer to 20% over what it's actually worth, and it's happening all the time, everywhere. And as you have said before, JK, I think it's about trying to get people to adopt the strategy of being on the price banding down if you can. Offers over strategies in this market, I think, do work very, very well. They are, I mean, in theory, you shouldn't need an offers over strategy. It should be a pinpoint. But if you're going to, like everything we've done at these kind of levels, we've had, there's one at 700,000 that I'm doing at the moment. You get a couple of derisory offers, but I've got another 4. I've got 6 offers, 2 derisory offers, and then 4. We're at best and finals at the minute, and we're getting close to 750.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's in like 30 days. My £700,000 house. So it just gives options as well. And a lot of the time, of course, it's all about the strategy of the seller and what they're looking to achieve. And these unique homes, a lot of the time, you don't know until you put it out there, do you? But you know when it's massively wrong. And I've took a couple of stinkers on when I just shouldn't have done it. We've all done it.
We've all been there. You
Yeah.
have a little bit of a quiet patch. You meet them and you're like, oh, you know, I think I could get this. They want to use you. It's probably not quite right. And then, you know, again, I've lost, you know, the story you talked about losing one the other week. We've just lost one where they're going to another agent. But I don't understand what I could have done more. You know, she's like, well, I want you to come out and take more photos. And I'm like, well, we don't need to come out. I said, I can. I said, but what do we need to take photos of? You know, we took the photos in the summer in the better weather. Well, you know, there's a picture of a green stool in the lounge, and I wanted to take it without the green stool. I said, well, we don't need to come out for that. I said, because my photographer can literally just remove that in 5 minutes. But the green stool isn't the issue, John. The issue is the price, as I said, you know, and I think ultimately it came down to, look, you know, the market doesn't agree with what we're on for. We need to be 50k less. You know, we had the conversation that, you know, if somebody offered you X, you'd take it. So in order to get there, we need to do offers over 850, I think it was in the end. I said we need to do. It's not on a price band, but we need to bring it down in order to get people through the door. The other thing I would say is,
I was just going to say as well, it's the energy that you use up on these people a lot of the time. You'll pick your clients. I watched a great video, and I'll try and share it in our group, Ryan Serhant video, and he talks about this. And he does post lots and lots of videos that are sort of like 90 seconds, and it can. What I've found when I've listened to him is it can just completely change your outlook on the day sometimes, and a certain client, because you just go, this guy's really experienced, dealt with multi-billion-pound clients, and he just gets it, and it's effective across the board. And I found that you're just draining energy on these people that are never ever going to change. I had a seller review call that was booked in a few days ago. In fact, it was last week, and I almost let it go. I almost let it go. They are lovely. I love them. They're a really nice family, and they do need to move. And they'd had at the time 3 valuations. The other 2 valuations were like 1.4 million. And I went through all the data and stuff, and I was like, it's probably like 1.15, 1.2. I don't understand where these numbers are coming from. There's people around there. They really wanted to use me. Long story short, they did. And we did 1.25. It's had viewings, but it's such a unique home. Very unique home. And it also needs some work. And it's not been selling, and it's had a good chunk of time on the market now. So we've had one reduction that was kind of at my price, but it's probably 6 months too late, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The market in that area has been falling, so it's dropped, and when they dropped, it was probably too late. My 1.15, 1.175 original valuation was now maybe $1,050,000 or 1.1, because you're not quite sure what's happening in the area until you get them out there and the land registry catches up. And anyway, start of the year, I thought I need to just get tough on these people. And again, going back to that analogy, JK, or the strategy of trying to get them a different price band and stuff like that, lower than they want to be. But we had a really long conversation about what could be done. They were asking me about national buyers because they've obviously got a big brand knocking on the door. And then in one sentence told me that one house next to them, well, that one's sold and that one's sold. And I'm saying, right, okay, which ones are we talking about? And we bring them up on the screen. And the house that he was talking about had started life at 1.2 million and is now under offer at 1,023,000. And I had to say to him, well, you're on at 1.175. If you want me to sell it at 1,023,000, I'll do that. That's kind of where I want to go with everything. And then they ended up going, so what do we need to do, David? What do we need to do? And I said, you need a very significant reduction. It needs at least 100 grand taken off it, and that takes us to like 1,050,000. So honestly, you probably need to be around 1 million. Maybe offers over, maybe guide. And they were like, oh no, oh God. And I'm like, what were you expecting?
Yeah.
What honestly are you expecting? Your house is not selling.
Yeah.
You're on a price is unachievable. You are telling me that one just down the road from you that's probably the same, well, it is the same size, it's got a more traditional layout, it's less unique and probably appeals to more buyers, it's just sold for £150,000 less than you're on for, and you're shocked that I'm telling you that you need a reduction. You know, I was politely saying you are looking for a silver bullet, and it doesn't exist.
There isn't one.
No.
The only thing I would say is the only way you're going to outperform the market is by being better. And what I mean by that is I don't mean being a better agent. I mean that is part of it, but having a better house. The house is amazing. Generation, like for example, just plucking one out of the air. Like Ian, the £3.5 million you had that sold at 4.3, right? That's a generational home that someone can only buy once every probably in their lifetime, probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to, you said 3.5, maybe you'll get some more, but that's massively outperformed, what everyone had hoped it would achieve because it's got the X factor, and it's got that generational, 20-30%, worth more pushing for because it's less about the money. And I explain that to people, sometimes it's hard, isn't it, to say to someone, your house isn't good enough to get that sort of money. And that's ultimately what you're saying. Because the market doesn't agree with your valuation and what you'd like. Just because you would like to get £1.5 million for your house doesn't mean that Joe Bloggs is going to go, God, you know what? John really wants £1.5 million. I'll pay that just because he wants it. It's not going to happen, is it? Whereas,
do you know what as well though? Sorry, JK, you just touched on something before saying I meant the houses and all that sort of stuff. It's also about framing it in a certain way. So with these guys, I was saying, listen, if you want to go and spend 100 grand on your home and make it look like an incredibly modern finish that everybody wants, there's a chance you might get that premium. But let's be honest, you've said it yourself. Your red kitchen needs replacing.
Yeah,
and your doors are all quite old and battered, and the flooring hasn't been changed for a number of years. So whilst there might be a premium for this road, it's not there at the moment, clearly. So we need to be honest with ourselves. And the result was, right, and again, this might just be a mindset issue for people listening if they're struggling with clients. At the end of the call, if I'm honest, I was prepared in my head for I think we're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And part of me was like, do I really want to carry on with this relationship? But then obviously your pride kicks in, doesn't it? Your pride kicks in. And they are very nice and they do need to sell. And I want to sell it for them.
If they change the price, you'll sell it.
Absolutely.
It's a bit like some people would say, we don't want to get involved with properties where they're getting divorced. And I think in some cases where it's a nightmare, like a complete nightmare, maybe you don't, but also they do need to sell it. Like we've got at the minute where I'm trying to get it off another agent. It's on, a high price. It needs to come onto the price point. They kind of disagree a bit, but I have got a WhatsApp group with both of them where we're sort of chatting about it. Other agents saying reduce it. I'm saying don't. I'm saying give it to me, obviously, at the right price point, new marketing, blah, blah, blah. And on one hand, you could say they're getting divorced, so it could be a nightmare. But on the other hand, it's a £1.8 million house. They'll pay the fee. They need to sell it. If it's on the right money, it will sell, won't it? So, you know what I mean? I think keep hold of most clients is what I'm getting at, as long as you can.
100%. But also sometimes, you need to let them go. Like if they're, like, for example, they're looking for an out. They're looking for an out. Like if they're not listening to you, and all they're doing is trying to find like holes in the market. Like don't get me wrong. If you go in autumn and take photos of a house and all the leaves are off the tree and the garden looks completely different, bam, of course, go out there and reshoot it. Absolutely. But, a new photo isn't the issue. The issue is the price. And we've had this conversation. And just because you want to achieve X and the market doesn't want to pay that, that's not a photo issue. That's a price issue. And we've had that conversation that, sometimes people just can't accept that the market doesn't agree with what they want to achieve. And they think but the issue you have is other agents are prepared to come in and go, yeah, I can get that. No problem. Just sign this 12-week contract and we'll see how it goes.
Well, do you know what? Just to finish on that, the way it finished for me is that my mindset when I came off it was a bit of you're a bit deflated. You're obviously getting challenging questions, but we have got a great relationship. And I was a bit like, especially with the way the first couple of weeks of the year have gone, I was a bit like, God, do I? But like you said, Ian, all the motivation is there. They want to sell this house. It's going to go. Somebody's going to sell it. And at some point, the price will dictate the future of it. So I came off the phone and I thought, if I leave it, they'll go. If I follow up really meticulously, there's a strong chance that we'll continue and I'll get it sold.
Just on that, Dave, that segues really nicely into a question we had this week, wasn't it?
Hang on, I'm not finished yet, JK. I'm not finished.
And thank you everyone for listening.
Literally not finished.
You paused too long.
Yeah, you paused too long.
It basically, you could just be on to your next sentence and JK's in, and he's changed it to something else.
I'm going to have a Diet Coke, Dave.
Anyway, long story short, I asked them, I put a massive report together and I said, how do you want it? Do you want it on email, WhatsApp? She said WhatsApp. And she actually said that's the longest WhatsApp I've ever received. I broke it all the way down. I put links on.
Wait to shoot your voice notes.
Yeah. She doesn't listen to those.
Neither do we.
So I broke it down into multiple WhatsApp messages. I put links on there to different houses in the area between 1 and 1.2 that are not sold. Loads of work on it. And then they came back to me 40 hours later and they said, right, let's crack on. Where does it need to be? Give us a ring. And then we're catching up today. The price is $1 million. It's going to come down from like 1.175 and it'll sell. So, I do think that they are hard, these conversations sometimes, but equally, I think you've got to get real with them, and you've got to give them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Anyway, JK, let's segue into your little menu.
Have you, just to clarify, David, have you finished speaking?
Yes,
I finished now. Over.
So, Ian, I mean, you had the question this week from one of our listeners, and we were just going to unpack that.
Segues nicely into something I want to talk about, actually, JK. Thank you.
What's that? Is it Diet Coke?
It is. Sorry, go on.
Go on, Ian.
I was thinking at some point we need a sponsor. Maybe it could be Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diet Coke specifically.
We talk about it enough, don't we?
This section of the podcast is sponsored by Diet Coke.
Yeah.
This is my taste.
So
what's Dave going to spend all of his money on? Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Okay, so we asked some questions on our Complete Agent Facebook group. Quick shout out, if you're an estate agent in the UK, please join our group. We share a lot of real world advice and sort of problems and challenges that we're having in there every week. And it'd be good if you joined. So it's just a Complete Agent on Facebook. So Finbar who is one of our TCA members, commented on my live. The question is, Ian Storey, after your initial follow-up, after a val, what are your top 5 must-dos and also your top 5 don't-dos? Sorry, I know that's grammatically all over the place. So what he's asking is, what should you do and what shouldn't you do after a val follow-up?
After a val to follow up.
After a val, what are the top 5 things you should do? So he suggested some things on a separate message to me, and I thought it was quite a good question. I think it's interesting asking what you shouldn't do, because quite often we talk about what we do, don't we? But we don't talk about what we don't do. And I think what he's getting at is pestering the client. You know, how often are you following up after the val? Are you following up too much? Are you sending really long-worded emails? That sort of thing. And then
that's standard.
No. And in the age of AI, God, there's so many posts on Facebook, aren't there? Instagram, but in particular Facebook, where they are just so obviously AI generated and they're so long and wordy. People get pissed off, don't they? But I mean, the things that we do is speed. You know, the main thing is speed for us after a val. So try and set up a WhatsApp group.
Do you do that in your mouth, or do you up your nose, or how should one do this?
Orally, yeah, the quickest way of getting into your bloodstream.
Sorry. It's a much better podcast without me, isn't it? Much more serious.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
When are we doing that one again without James? No, so speed, yeah. So,
Every week.
I mean, quite often we pull over as we leave the val, set up a WhatsApp group there and then with the client to get the conversation going, try and get the proposal out the same day, minimum. We agree a follow-up point on the val. So when we finish the val, we agree when we're going to meet up. So put a time and date into the diary, or we try to. So for us, it's about speed of getting back, following up quickly and then diarising a date. Because what you don't want to do is piss them off. And so many of these people are, professional, busy, working people. Even if they're retired, they still appreciate, diaries, putting things, punctuality, all that sort of stuff. So that's how we would approach the initial bit after the val. They're the things that we do. Any other thoughts from you two on that?
Don't get defensive in whatever messages you send. So, for example, if someone comes back to you and says, "Oh, so and so said X, Y, and Z," blah blah blah, like don't go into defense mode. Don't write what you actually want to say. Like always keep it profesh and always make sure that you're profession humble. I suppose is the way to do it. Don't acknowledge. If someone asks you directly a question, so and so is going to do it for 1%. You don't want to be going into, well, they don't do this and they don't do that and blah 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 blah. Like that's the worst thing you can do. You say, look, can we have a conversation, about the fee, and maybe I can articulate why 2% isn't hitting the mark with you, or something along those lines, and have a conversation with them about it. But to be honest, if you're getting a message about fee afterwards, the chances are there is some interest in that they want to use you.
Yeah.
Because they're just sometimes they're just asking. Sometimes they're going to say, they're trying to anchor to 1%. So they might be saying, for example, but so and so charges 1%. Would you match that? What they're saying is, I really like you. I want to use you. Can I get it for less?
Yes.
Yes. And then that's why then you want to get them on the phone and go, right, well, can we have a quick chat about this? So in their mind, they're thinking, oh, he's going to be open to this. You have a phone conversation with them and go, look, just to go over our points, we achieve 2% more. We do this, we do that. We aren't a 1% agent. You're making the right decision at 2%. I promise you, you will not regret it. Let's get signed. When can we get it on the market? So that is the worst thing you can do there is do what Facebook and LinkedIn warriors do and go, I didn't demonstrate my value. Maybe the other agent didn't demonstrate their value enough on the blah, 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 blah. Like, go into sales trainer mode. Like, don't be a dick. It's just a person that wants to sell their house. They want to sell their house. They like you. They're asking you because they want to use you. And just don't get defensive. Just have a conversation, laugh it out and say, look, to be honest, John, I would ask this exactly the same thing. I'm a fierce negotiator as well, but I promise you it'll be the best 2% you've ever spent in your life.
And also, by the way, when people ask that question, when people say that it's you've not lost it on fee, you've lost it because you didn't demonstrate your value. It's also probably a little bit disrespectful to your competition. You might be, if I went up against you two, I would quite honestly probably go with the one that offered me the cheapest deal because you're both extremely good, and it'd be difficult to choose from the pair of you. You've both got
Would it? Would it? Yeah, I'm going to say really.
Well, it's because this is a public forum.
Yeah,
I can't say what I prefer.
Yeah, I didn't understand that guy. He just grumbled a lot at me in like a Blackpudlian accent. Like,
I'll
Dave,
text the person.
I've got your text there.
Yeah. He's really relatable on text, but couldn't understand him in person.
But obviously, it does come down to demonstrating your value and what you can offer. But ultimately, yeah, there's always going to be people looking for fee deals, and I kind of respect it anyway. Because if you're a business person, why would you not want to get the best deal for yourself?
We're just asking. And that's it, isn't it? Sometimes you get like, for example, I've had situations where, I've bought services and like, for example, a Fiverr. I'm ruthless sometimes on Fiverr. When I want something done, like I needed I think I said to you guys last night in the group, I needed a LinkedIn, I needed some information off LinkedIn scraping. And I said, look, what's your turnaround, this, that, and the other. And they were like, oh, well, it's $100 and it's going to be 4 days. And I was like, nah. I was like, I want it within 24 hours. I said, what can you do within an hour? How much is it going to cost me within an hour? Oh, I can't do it within an hour. I was like, how soon can you do it? Well, I can do it in 12 hours, but I want $250. I said, I'll pay now $125 if you can get it to me within 12 hours. Job done. Like they took it and it's there. And the thing is, it isn't even for me. This LinkedIn data. It's for a contact of mine that said, "Can you get this for me? I need it for this. I've no idea where to get it. I'll pay, 2, 3, 4 grand. I need it within 24 hours. Can you get it for me?" And I've literally just got it. And 12 hours, I've sent it over to him on text this morning. I'm not going to take the 2, 3, 4 grand that he wants to give me for it. I'll just send him the receipt for the $125, whatever it is, and he can just reimburse me that. But it just goes back to relationships and proximity is power again. Just to talk about that, I can make you can make a quick buck off of people, but that's not what we're about. It's about the relationship. That relationship's worth like way more to me in the long term, not just financially, just in general. Like, being around good people helps you no end. It's helped me being around you guys. It's helped me being around some of the people I've met. Doing the mid to upper end of the market and mixing with. I mean, Dave, you talked about it the other week. I think your highest ever commission, for getting the extra money. Being around those sort of people, that wouldn't happen to you selling, Margaret's 2-bed terrace in Manchester. Like, realistically, she's not going to go, Dave, if you get me another 20 grand, we'll split it 2 ways. Not going to happen. Whereas being around the right sort of people, it will. And sorry, I realise I've gone off at a tangent. We're supposed to be responding to this text. That's not totally unlike me, out of character. Can
I just say a quick point on that, very quickly? I was thinking about it yesterday, and I actually wrote it in a message because I was, as you know, I don't know if I've told you lads, but I've been feeling the pressure lately.
No, you hadn't mentioned it. Are you busy?
Right.
Are you busy as fuck?
Yeah, I'm quite busy, understaffed, and have you got a minute? Can I talk?
No.
Okay.
Got to power yourself. Sorry.
Okay, mate. Sorry. But what I ended up saying on this message was, at the end of the day, I was like, this particular client that I'm going to take on. I think they're going to be tricky, really nice, but I think they're going to be on it, And I said to the person that I was talking to, I said, but at the end of the day, they're going to pay us £30,000 to sell the house. There has to be some pressure, and if I can't take that, then I shouldn't be doing the job, really. Thank you, mate. And then I just came back and I got ill and I felt a sniffle. And before you knew it, I was laid down on the sofa and I'd been diagnosed with man flu. And I just thought to say that. And I always remember Roger Federer saying, "Pressure is a privilege." I've always remembered that quote, and I really like it. Anyway, back to the question, Finbar. Where were we?
Don't get defensive. Prepare to be. So the don't do's will be things like that. Don't follow up too much because that can put people off.
Yes.
Do set expectations of when you're going to call. So I will always try and say, well, when are you free over the next few days? Can I call you at 11 o'clock? And what I do, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys before, I get one of my business cards and I write the time on there and I give it to them. I don't know if you guys ever used that before.
That's a great idea.
Some might say that is gold dust. But they know you're going to call. They know you're going to call. Actually, I don't do that often, but it does work.
I've got another great do. And I think a great do is sending them a video market update every month.
Yeah, if you do them.
Because it's so non-salesy, and Aidan has now set up an automation in Street that ours gets WhatsApped to everyone we've ever done a valuation for.
Nice.
Automatically, which is brilliant. So it just gets sent out. So on my phone, I've got however many, 500, I don't know how many it is, WhatsApps. And I can see they've read it. Some have commented, some have asked questions. So sending a WhatsApp market update is brilliant. It also gets sent now to people who were going to value as well on WhatsApp automatically.
Since who would have thought keeping people abreast of the owner property
the market in a non-salesy way
would actually pay dividends? Who'd have thought, eh?
Crazy. So the ones
great
I've
idea,
been
mate.
to,
That's brilliant.
It's really good. Yeah, the ones I've been to in the last week since he set up the automation, they've sat and watched our market update before I walked in the door. And I know they have on WhatsApp because they get the little blue tick. Such really I think that's a massive do. Because it's free, it's brilliant content, it's dead easy to do. It takes about 20 minutes. And big game changer, I think that. Big game changer.
Just an idea on that as well. And I'm sure, as you just said, that's exactly what you do. But on our confirmation emails that we send out, we actually send Sandra's video out. So we say, you're booked in to see James at blah, 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 blah. Really looking forward to meeting you. Did you know that James Kendall is the only agent locally to offer complimentary home styling? To find out more, watch our video, meet Sandra here. And then there's a link to the YouTube video. And that's the Val I went to yesterday, £1 million valuation. She goes, I can't wait to meet Sandra. Before I'd even signed anything up, she was like, watch the styling video. That's great, that is. Is that how much extra does that cost? I was like, well, it's all part of the marketing. It's just what we do.
Literally sending that to Aidan now. I've just sent him that WhatsApp to say, we need to do that. We've got one of those videos. We don't use it enough.
And that's the thing. Just use it. And we put it on Facebook again the other day. We've shared it around the local groups. It's been on LinkedIn, been shared on LinkedIn. I had some great feedback on Facebook the other day. Guy that we sold a house for before that friended me on Facebook said, absolutely brilliant, leading the way, service for it just if you've got the marketing there and you've spent the time to do it, repurpose it and use it over and over again. So that's another thing to do. Send your proposal quick. Also, I think another good thing about proposals, again, and I'll credit Dave for this, is an up-to-date market report in the proposal. So make sure that the content of the report, although you can use a template, make sure the bulk of the content around the client is bespoke to them and what you're going to do for them. And that's something I really took from you, Dave. And you can use AI to help you along the way in your style, but you need to be able to customize it. So if they're mentioning their dog, their plans, their kids coming back from uni, or their kids going to uni, or they need to go to this private school. You've talked about the pound per square foot. I'm not going to give the whole game away on here, but they're making sure that you follow up with a proper market report, not just here's thanks for the free no obligation valuation, sign here to sign up with us. Have proper content, because we use better proposals. It's no secret, and you can see what people are reading. And since we've been actually properly writing market reports for the last few years, the amount of time people spend reading the proposal has got longer exponentially.
Yes. Has it really? Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's gone up. It's gone up because they realise after a while it's not a template. They start reading it, and then they notice that there are, without, again, I don't want to give the game away because obviously this is for TCA members, but the stuff that Dave has put together, it's bespoke to each person, and there isn't like a set template you follow. It's just the way that Dave did it. I revamped mine, and you talk about them and their house and the data in such a way that even a lot of it is templated. The bits that you fill in look like you sat there for 4 hours and wrote a bespoke report. And again, at that end of the market, it doesn't really matter for people at 100 grand flats above the chippy. They don't care. They just want cheap transactional. But for the people that are instructing you at the mid to upper end, they are huge on attention to detail because that's their job.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something I took from you, Ian, a long time ago now, but that was to always get a photo of the house, and personalize it, and then the template that I've put together, like JK says, I mean, the feedback I get on those are consistently, wow, thanks so much, that's so detailed, and actually it is, but it's something that I've put together over time, that I've built, and then the bespoke elements of it, they don't take that long, as long as you've made proper notes in your valuation and stuff like that. It's pretty good. It is pretty good, and it does get good feedback. Sets you apart. So I would say, a don't that I would do is don't fall into the trap of mixing in with the crowd almost. You could do a really knockout valuation, but I think if your follow-up proposal is bang average, and your next steps are bang average, then you could really fall down there. I think you can overdo it, like I said, over chase. But the simple thing that I always got told in sales many years ago was just do what you say you're going to do. So if you're in that valuation and you've done a really good job, and you come out of there and you say, right, listen, I'll send you a follow-up proposal within the next 24 hours, and I'll give you a call on Wednesday, and then you don't send the follow-up report within 24 hours, and then you don't follow up on Wednesday, that's not going to stand you in good stead.
I also think I would prefer to over chase rather than under chase. Obviously,
yeah. I think there's a balance.
Favors in the follow-up.
I think it depends what you're doing as well. Like you've touched on AI there. You see, I mean, I still get frustrated by emails I receive on a day-to-day basis that I've never spoken to in my life, and you can just see it's an email, AI-generated email. I hate that. I do think short form is much better than long form when it comes to follow-up in terms of email and text messages, setting up WhatsApp groups immediately, stuff like that. Just, hi, John. I've sent you your report. Love to know your thoughts. Can we catch up? Or, are you free tomorrow at 2? Whatever it is, just very, very short. These are busy people, and they don't want to read song and verse about the report that they've already seen and the follow-up. They just want to know that you're there, really. So just touching base, asking questions, and getting answers to them quickly.
100%.
Speed.
Cool. Well, it looks like a good place to call it for this week. Hopefully, we've unpacked quite a lot. Yeah. It's been a longer one than usual. Shock, Dave's on the pod. And is he going to bite? No. But it's been great having you back, Dave, this week. And we will look forward to seeing everyone next week.
Cheers, guys.